everyone. Welcome to Caregiver Convo. I'm Alexis Williams, and to my left here, I have the pleasure of being with Pastor Odell Cleveland. How are you today, sir?
Doing great, doing great. You know, Alexis, as a caregiver, adult caregiver of aging parent, tomorrow I'll be 62 years old.
Will you?
Yes, I know. You're like, oh my God, you don't look a day over, da-da-da. And just for you know, your boy's lost 21 pounds, Alexis.
Sweet.
Sweet.
Very good, Pastor Odell.
Yes.
I'm liking it.
Listen, how can you care for someone if you don't care for yourself? And we talk a lot about on Caregiver Convo that we're here to remind you to laugh and also take care of yourself, because we're the show that's here to help those who care for others.
Speaking of caregiving, I think I heard you one day referred to it as the Wild West. Do you know about Wild West?
The Wild Wild West. Have you ever seen that show? Did you see that show?
I have seen the Wild Wild West show.
Good,
you need to sport a hat like me.
Oh.
Now we're ready. Okay, sir, you need to turn it around so we can't see the tag.
Okay. All right. So is that good?
Much better, yes.
That looks good?
So does that mean we're in the Wild Wild West of caregiving?
We're always in the wild, wild west of caregiving. I mean, think about it. You're bringing a stranger in so many cases into your home and trusting them with the most precious commodity you have, which is your loved one. I know if you didn't have to do it, if I didn't have to do it, if you didn't have to do it, we wouldn't do it. So what happened when the caregiver who you hire and you paying them 15, what's the going right now?
Oh, you are way off. It's up.
Okay, so you pay, let's say.
Cost of living, inflation, I don't know. It'd be hard to find someone, I think, for $15 an hour.
Let's just say 20,
Okay.
just for talking purposes.
That's right.
So you're paying someone $20 an hour to come in and take care of your loved one, and you walk in and everything's good, your loved one's eating, and you see them on their phone on Facebook.
Whew, that's tough.
$20 an hour to be on Facebook.
That's tough. I think I might have to talk to the caregiver about that.
But the caregiver is saying, I'm doing everything needed to be done. She's eating. I prepared the food. I laid the food out. She's eating, and I'm just sitting down watching her eat, and I'm just checking my Facebook page.
So something I would think about is, and what I've seen with many caregivers, is it really helps if you're able to more or less have a plan of care or plan of action when the caregiver comes into the home. So if you review a set of expectations with them about what you want them to do while they're there, I think then you sort of have a dog in the fight if you catch someone doing something that you sort of agreed was off limits when they were here taking care of your loved one.
Okay, help me understand home health or home care, because we throw these, you're the experts. Yeah, you are. You know, I'm the eye candy here, and you're the brain.
Okay. I'm so glad we've set that straight.
Thank you. So the eye candy, you're the brain. Help the eye candy understand the difference between home health, home care. Be the teacher.
Okay, so in my mind, what we need to consider first of all is you've decided to bring someone into your home to assist you with your caregiving duties.
Yes.
Okay.
Assist me or maybe relieve me.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, that's good. All right. To me, some of the tougher things to think about is, are you going to go with an agency? Or are you going to make an arrangement between you and another individual? So there are things to consider if you go with an agency or decide to go with contracting with someone independently.
Okay.
Maybe the third thing to think about would be, what do you actually intend for them to do when they come?
Give me a break.
Oh, okay, that. They hopefully will do that. That's really, that's top of the list.
There you go.
But I really do. I think you should, in a very similar fashion, list out all that you need for them to do while they're there with you. And of course, the primary focus would be the care receiver. So like in your situation, you might consider all the things that you want done to help with your mom.
Yes.
That would help get through the day. So maybe you'll consider dressing, bathing, assistance with toileting, light housekeeping. And light housekeeping is sometimes defined by the person who's doing the work. So in my mind, light housekeeping might be vacuuming, but they may not vacuum. So you need to kind of set the story straight as to what your expectations are when they come, and make a list. Make the list visible to everybody.
Right.
And then see what happens.
So cooking, all this kind of stuff, because sometimes what I've experienced, and I don't want to say we've ran through, I say we've experienced a lot of different caregivers over the years who came in to help take care of my mother, and we've paid them well. Now, a lot of times I tell my mother, because sometimes, and I can talk about my mama, but nobody else can, sometimes it's like, Mommy, they're here to help. They're not servants. You know, I mean, they say, Mommy, what do you want to eat? Miss Cleveland, what do you want to eat? I don't want that. I don't want that. Okay, we know what you don't want. Just tell the girl, what do you want her to cook for you? I mean, Queen Bee syndrome?
Oh, you weren't supposed to use that term without me knowing.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
Okay. So I guess the issue there is there food there? Has the person gone and gotten the groceries needed to prepare
all
the
that's
meal?
there. It's just
She just isn't interested in what's being prepared. She
I
would
think
rather you do it.
Well, no. It's not the caregiver. I think my mother sometimes just I got the term. She got up on the wrong side of the bed that morning.
Well, don't we all? And, we all have those days. But sometimes what I think is really great about bringing someone into the home is it gives you a break, but also it causes that loved one that you care for to be with someone else, to use their brain, engage with somebody else, to exercise with somebody else. We get tired of each other sometimes. Believe it or not, sometimes we get tired of each other.
Okay, so that I mean, like, even Odell, I get tired of you. What we say is we get on each other's nerves.
Okay. All right. So that happens.
So, Alexis, do I get on your nerves sometimes?
Perhaps, maybe, just a little. You're all about speaking the truth, so I'm just speaking the truth to you. We're rolling along here, Pastor Odell. Okay, wait a minute. Now we got to talk about this caregiving thing.
Yes.
So we've talked about you're bringing somebody into the home. You've decided whether you're going to contract with somebody or go with an agency.
Right.
Maybe if you go with a business, you ask them, have you done any background checks? Are they insured? Have they done any drug tests? What are their COVID protocols? Now that we've had the pandemic, there are all kinds of things that are being required by these businesses for our benefit, of course. But, in my mind, it needs to be also for your loved one's benefit.
Right.
Also, you might want to ask them if there's an incident that happens in the home. Let's say I'm helping you come down the hall, you trip and fall, and you take me with you, and there's a mess in the hall.
Right.
Now, who's in charge of that incident? Is that going to be you, the homeowner, or is it going to be the business that the employee works for? So lots of times, it's not always the most popular thing to talk about the negative things. I'm here for you when it comes to negative things. I can talk about those things. The issue is who's responsible for that incident if something unfortunate happens.
Right.
Another thing to think about is the loved one ever going to leave the house? So, for example, are they going to take a car and take them on some errands, go to the doctor appointment?
Yes.
You might need to think about those things. You also need to think about medicine sometimes. Do you know if your caregivers can help your mom with medicines?
They're helping them, so help me understand what that means.
So sometimes it's my understanding that in different states, the in-home care provider really can't touch medicine because it's how they're set up. Home health is different from in-home care.
Can you explain to me and our viewing audience the difference between? And I know you all already know. I think I know, but I don't know. Maybe that's why I failed the third grade. Can you explain to them?
I'll try. So in my mind, home health is ordered by a physician or a PA or nurse practitioner to send licensed professionals. Oftentimes, they're physical therapists, occupational therapists, speech therapists, respiratory therapists, could be skilled nurses who come in to assist the loved one on an intermittent basis. Usually it's no more than 60 to 90 days, depending upon how that works with the patient. Should they... Medicare typically pays for that and some insurance. So as a general rule, because it's governed most often by a licensure entity.
Okay.
In every state, they have people who certify home health agencies. Therefore, they require licensed professionals to go into the home. And most of the time, Medicare insurance and usually like state assistance, Medicaid, will pay for that if there's a medical order for that.
Right, right.
But it's not long term. And they often are not in the home a very long time. So let's say
a couple hours a day or something like that.
oh,
once
not
a
even
week?
that way. Just a couple of weeks. So maybe you have a physical therapist who comes 2 times a week. You may have an occupational therapist who comes 2 times a week. You might have the speech therapist just come 1 time and they
Right.
do an eval and then they decide they don't need to come back.
Got it.
But it is not a consistent schedule and it's intermittent. It's short term.
That's very helpful. And that's home health.
That's correct.
And that's almost like a prescription that
Exactly.
comes from the physician or the doctor saying, here's a prescription. My words, not
Yeah.
yours. I try to
Yeah.
use words I understand.
Yep.
A prescription to come into the home and provide these services.
Right.
Okay.
And oftentimes you get these services because a medical professional has said, I think this would benefit you. You've had a change in how you're able to do things. Maybe you've had a fall. Maybe you've had pneumonia. Maybe you've had a hospital stay for some reason.
right.
And now they want you to get back to where you were, get you stronger, make you as independent as you were, with the idea that you're trying to stay in your home as often as you can and as long as you can.
Okay. But we don't get this individual, the home health person providing care, is not the caregiver.
No, that's right.
That person is coming in providing care. Got it.
So in my mind, what happens is oftentimes home health is ordered by a licensed medical professional, like you said,
Right.
doctor, a PA or nurse practitioner.
Right.
And then the family decides to kind of supplement things or to help things be safe at home. They look to hire someone to come into the home to provide care for the loved one. But oftentimes that is an out-of-pocket expense.
Okay.
So
wait a minute. I'm sorry. So home health is ordered by a physician or what have you. And because it's like a prescription, then your insurance is, whatever it may or may not be, will pay for it because it's ordered.
That's correct.
Now, home care, boy, home health, home care, who's on first, who's on second, yada, yada, yada. I mean, how do you expect us to keep up with all this?
Very true. So let me confuse you even more because I'm good at that. So you might have in-home care. It might also be called home care. It could be called custodial care,
Okay.
which is really hard to remember. And then it could also be that you have a personal care aide that comes into the home. And so none of those usually, as a general rule, those things are not paid for by a form of insurance. Sometimes state assistance or Medicaid will pay, but that is not the large percentage of people who receive that care. It is paid out of pocket.
What does out of pocket mean? Out of my pocket?
It does mean out of your pocket. It means cash. You have to pay cash.
Mucho.
Yes, mucho.
Dinero.
Lots of mucho.
Okay. Got
Yes.
it.
So once you have those people coming into the home who are providing home health, it's short term, and what you typically see is then that an in-home care provider, perhaps somebody who's been hired by the family or contracted with a business, comes into the home to help in the house.
Right.
And it can also mean things like meal preparation. It can mean changing the linens, cleaning the sheets, helping in the bathroom. It can mean errand running, going to and from the doctor, all that kind of stuff. The hope is, of course, is that you find someone that's a good fit for your family.
There you go. There you go.
That can be
There
hard.
you go. You're right. Now see that
I
hit
can't
home.
imagine caring for you. It would be so challenging.
As a caregiver, you're looking at yourself in the mirror.
Oh, yes, you are. Yes, we are. We are all thinking about things like could I turn into blank, blank, blank?
Could I turn into my mother who want to be bougie and be the queen bee and says, I don't know what I want for breakfast. Well, Mom, if you don't know, the caregiver don't know.
Yeah, but in my mind too, you are hiring somebody to see that she's taken care of. So hopefully that caregiver is understanding that mom is going to be just like you and me and be opinionated and
I
have
like that.
thoughts on what's
Okay.
going to happen every day. Pastor Odell, you're one of the most opinionated people I know.
Me?
How in the world do you expect that somebody is going to be able to satisfy all of your opinions when they come to care for you?
So you say my mother is that way, so maybe that's where I got it from.
Oh, I didn't say that, but there might be a little bit of that, just
Okay.
a little.
Got you.
That's okay.
Got you.
But I think sometimes it's good that you're opinionated. I think it's good that you have thoughts on how you want things to be. I think most people do. I think most people have a routine.
Mm-hmm.
Most people have little idiosyncrasies, isn't that a big word just for you?
Yeah.
Or have quirks that it's important for the caregiver who's coming into the home to know. So, I think it's just part of the job. You're going to have to deal with people's opinions.
Yeah, but now who's in charge? Is the person being cared for in charge, or the caregiver in charge, or the me who's the person who she's relieved? Because you said the person, and I said she, so I apologize for that. It could be a he or she. You said the person is coming in, and the main focus here is the person receiving the care. And I want to push back a little bit and say, wait a minute. I think the main focus is to give me a break too. You got to put me in there, so I need
Okay.
respite.
Okay.
Now that's a big word. I can't spell it. I need respite. You know
That's
what I mean?
true.
Respite care. What's it called?
Respite, I think how you're using it means a break in care. So what would happen is if I was your caregiver, I would desperately need a respite.
So you need a break from me.
I would need a break from you.
Okay.
And I would look for somebody to come in to care for you so that I could care for myself, make myself a priority. It could just mean that I go down the hall to another room and shut the door and take a nap. It could just be that I have confidence in the fact that you're safe and somebody's taking care for you and I can go rest.
A lot of times when the caregiver come in and my brother's still there taking care of her, my mother will supersede the caregiver and call my brother to come and help her when the caregiver's right there.
So that's a challenge. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah. I guess maybe what you would do is ask the caregiver to really kind of say, Miss Cleveland, I'm here to help you. Let your son go take a break. I'm here to help you. Sometimes, it all goes back to that fun word that we talk about, communication. Communication is key. But at the same time, sometimes it isn't a good fit. You have to just kind of figure out, and you kind of have to have people come into the home and try to work with your loved one and see which one is the best fit.
So they experimenting.
Oh, okay. I don't like it when you use that word. But
okay, so it's not like they're dating. I mean, not trying to be funny, but I didn't marry the first girl I ever dated to see if it's a fit. But all of a sudden, we don't like it when people quit us. Let me explain. When I was dating before I got married, you didn't want to break up with someone. That's a better word, break up.
Okay.
But the breakup, did he leave you or you left her?
Oh, okay.
Now, when the caregiver says, I'm sorry, I can't work with your loved one anymore because in her mind, all this, you don't know what you want, the queen bee syndrome, and maybe the caregiver is tired of the queen and the bee.
Yeah.
And so now we get a phone call I've received phone calls from the caregivers. I just want to let you know I really appreciate you and everything, but your mother's being difficult. Today is my last day. I'm like, huh? A text, a call? I'm trying to work. I'm on a Zoom call. I'm doing business. So now all of a sudden, she quit me.
Yep.
And it's almost like, it's not you, it's me. But the relationship is breaking up. So what happens when our caregiver who we love and we think things are going fine breaks up with us?
What I think you have to do is kind of think about maybe when you're working with somebody is you say to them before they start the job, hey, if this doesn't work out, can we at least have a week's notice? Can we have 30-day notice? You will at least have asked.
Okay.
So in my mind, this is a business transaction. As much as it might hurt your feelings that they don't want to be in part of caring for you, then maybe you can ask, why not ask them? Could you please at least give me a notice?
Usually people don't give you a notice when they're breaking up with you.
No, you're
But
right.
it's nice when they do. It's something called a Dear John letter, but we'll leave that alone. So I get a text from a caregiver saying, today is my last day. And I'm like, can we talk about it? Well, no, I've already left. I'm at home.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, so now, but thank God my brother's still living there, so
Yeah.
we're scrambling.
Yeah.
And at first, the first couple of times, and not that my mother goes through caregivers, but when you've done this for years,
That's a headache. Yeah.
yeah, because now you just start all over again and
Yep.
find someone.
Yep.
So we found that we have a combination of 3.
Okay.
So that makes it a little easier, but at the same time, I don't want you to think that, okay, I found this caregiver for my loved one and this individual is going to be there until my loved one is no longer here. Usually it doesn't work that way. I've never had that experience. It would be great if it did, but it didn't work that way. So I think the flexibility, and when you get the call or the Dear John letter, or in my case, the text or what have you, just work through it. Don't let it just crush your day. Just work through it.
When this happened, Pastor Odell, what'd you do? I mean, did you just hope all was going to be all right? Did you go back to the same agency? Did you let other people know that you're in need of another caregiver? How did that work?
Yes, we have it the way we had it now. We have 3 caregivers. One's with an agency.
Okay.
And then we have 2 who are individuals
Okay.
who are probably work for agencies and all that,
Okay.
very experienced.
Okay.
So when you get the call, I'm like, okay, I can't deal with that right now. And I know that sounds so selfish. I know. I'm in the middle of work, Zoom calls, I have a schedule. I can't cancel everything I'm doing to handle this. So I know my brother's there. And I'm like, okay, I'll put this to the side. And when I get a moment, I'll at least call and make sure everything's okay.
Okay.
But over the years, I've learned to do that. Instead, at first, it's like, oh my God, my whole day is gone. I need to stop everything, cancel my meetings, do all this. And then that's what really hurt inside, because it's like one phone call can take over my whole day.
Yep.
And I had to fix that just out of self-preservation
Yes.
and self-care.
Yes. I am known to be a really good obsessor. And then another word that I learned was ruminate. Do you know
Okay,
what
no,
ruminate
no, no, no,
means?
no.
Ruminate
I
means
think-
you have thoughts that go on
Okay, you
over and
play it in your
over
head.
and over again. Yes. So
But you're so charming and you're so nice and
it doesn't always, what's going on the inside is not always what's going on the outside.
but you're a caregiver. You take care of your mother.
Long distance caregiver.
Long distance
There's a
caregiver.
difference.
Okay. We don't want to insult the person who's doing the caregiving. You and your sister take care of your mother. You and your sister take care of your father. You have a wonderful husband who puts up with you, and you have a son and a daughter, or 2 daughters and
And a son. So I have 3.
okay, so you have 3 children, no grandkids,
Nope,
nothing like that.
nope.
So, but you're the rock or you're the cement. What are you in the marriage?
I think sometimes you have to decide, we talk about it often, is that you have to wear a caregiver hat
Yes.
or you might have to wear a relationship hat. And I think you do have to take the time sometime to prioritize and then reprioritize.
Right.
So I think you can only do the best you can do.
Uh-huh.
And to your point, many people have to practice having experiences
Yeah,
where the
yes,
phone call changes your day.
Right.
And then after those phone calls, you have enough of that you decide, I can't live like this. I can't do this like this. I need to change my behavior. The perspective on caregiving has to change from my thinking and then go from there. That may not sound nice to the care receiver, but oftentimes I've found that if you don't decide to change it as the caregiver, the perspective and what happens with loved ones isn't going to change. So you have to be the person to make the changes because maybe they can't. You know, maybe the care receiver really isn't capable of making changes. Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't.
Yeah, because what happened, I called my sister and said, once I got a break, said, hey, She said, yeah, I got the call too. And it's like, okay, we're going to have a family meeting tonight. So it's like, we called my brother. It's like, okay, when is mommy's available? So no one could do it. We had to do it at 8:30, which is kind of late for mommy and everything. But it's like, we didn't really spend a lot of time on what happened. On why the separation occurred.
Right.
We spent more time on moving forward And, mommy's real quiet because it's like, okay, did you do something? In my mind, I didn't say
Right.
it to her. My
Right.
brother was very much, okay, we'll just keep going. Because our family, I thank God that we don't let incidents like that turn us against each other
Good for you.
and fight for each other. Because it's frustrating for everybody. Because when you think you have a routine in place, this young lady is good, this is good. The whole thing on home health, thank you. You really, really helped me on that. Home care. So home care is what the situation was with us.
Yes.
That we picked this individual,
Right.
and we vetted them, and she came highly recommended and did well. And she was with us for going on a year and a half. So we're very thankful. So there's no need beating her up. But one thing I've learned, I learned this in business as a business leader and owning a business. If someone's tell you they're going to quit or they threaten to quit, you got to let them go. Because if you beg someone, my term, not yours, oh, don't go, I can fix it, I can do this, I can do this. In my opinion, unless it's a legitimate situation versus a preference, it's always going to be something else. It's always going to be something else. And usually it's continuum with people pushing the boundaries. Not that no one's a servant who's coming in to work for you, but at the same time, it's got to be both ways, and sometimes people just get tired and want to move. And what I found too with caregivers, sometimes they find a better job.
We're going to have a quick test.
Yes.
All right. Is it home health
Okay.
or is it home care? All right. So somebody assists with physical therapy. Which one is it?
Home health.
Very good. Someone who prepares a meal and serves it to the loved one.
Home care.
Good. Someone who helps in the bathroom and then maybe assists them with getting their clothes on and combing their hair. Which one is that?
Home care.
Home care, very good. But you see, just to confuse you,
Why are you trying to confuse the
because you need
brother?
to know the occupational therapist who falls up under home health may come in and
do
help
that.
with those same duties. So you're doing great. Okay, hold on. Reminders to take medicine. Which one is that?
Home care.
And home health. They can remind you to take medicine. Oftentimes, they can't give you the medicine. They can't handle the pills and put it in your mouth. Just a couple of other ones. You ready? Incontinence care.
That's putting on the diapers, the Pampers, it depends, right?
Yeah.
So the
Who does
care,
that?
I did it. I do it all the time. I'm thinking that's home care.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Okay, last one. Transportation. Who often drives people to and from different places?
Home
Is
care.
that home care? Very good.
What did I make?
Oh, definitely an A+++. You did awesome. Until next time, we'll see you hopefully very soon. Have a good day.
Thank you.